Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurulmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everybody who have joined the group and are about to join and will see this later on YouTube. Thank you very much for giving your time, and we have missed your association, Prabhuji. So thank you very much for joining us. Prabhuji, we are now on Canto 3. And this looks like as if it was never going to happen, but we are with all the blessings from mentors like you, Prabhuji. We are now embarking on Canto 3. We are on Chapter 1, and the text for today is text 7 and 8, Prabhuji. So over to you, Prabhu.
Okay. Narayan Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sanshritim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriyetu Nashtaprayeshu Patreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Tamshloke Bhakti Bhauti Namashtaki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 1, verse number 7. We'll read the verse, it doesn't have purport, we'll go then to 8. So we read the 7th verse. Yada sabhayam kuru deva devya kesha abhimarsham sutakar magaryam na varayam asha nirpa shnu saya swarshay haratya kucha kunkumani. Translation by His great Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The king did not forbid his son, the Sashan's abominable action by grabbing the hair of Draupadi, the wife of the godly king Yudhishthira, even though her tears washed the red dust on her breast. Text 8. Dyute tu adharvena jitasya sato Sattva lambasya vanam gatasya naya chatodyat samayena dayam tamojshano yad ajata shatru. Translation. Yudhishthira was born without any enemy, was unfairly defeated in gambling, and because he had taken the vow of truthfulness, he went off to the forest. When he came back in due course, and begged the return of his rightful share of the kingdom. He was refused by Dhritarashtra, who was overwhelmed by illusion. Mataji, you can read the purport.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Maharaj Yudhishthir was the rightful heir to his father's kingdom, but just to favor his own sons, headed by Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra, Maharaj Yudhishthir's uncle, adopted various unfair means to cheat his nephews of the rightful share of the kingdom. At last, the Pandavas demanded only 5 villages, one of each for the 5 brothers, but that was also refused by the usurpers. This incident led to the war of Kurukshetra. The battle of Kurukshetra, therefore, was induced by the Kurus and not the Pandavas. As Kshatriyas, the proper livelihood of the Pandavas was only to rule and not to accept any other occupation. A Brahmana, Kshatriya, or Vaishya will not accept employment for his livelihood under any circumstances. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Over to you.
So in the text 7, we learn that how Dhritarashtra, he did not stop his son Dusashan, who grabbed the hair of Draupadi and then she was dragged into the assembly. Sri Prabhupada calls it the vicious assembly of the Kauravas, because there was no decency in there. And the wife of the godly king Yudhishthir, Draupadi is the wife of a godly king, and Draupadi is also one of the goddesses of fortune, no ordinary woman. And even though her tears washed the red dust on her breast, that means she was crying and she asked for protection, but nobody protected her. And the biggest fault is that of Dhritarashtra, because he was so much in illusion. Illusion was created by his over-attachment to his son, Duryodhan, Dusashan, and others, especially Duryodhan. If you go to the history in the Mahabharata, we find that even when Duryodhan took birth, there were many bad omens and inauspicious signs. And Vidura told that that son will ruin your entire dynasty, kill him. But he did not accept. He says, this is my son. Had he done that, if he had taken the advice of Vidura, then at least things would have changed. But anyway, everything goes on by the arrangement of Krishna. Now, if you can take a glimpse into that scene when Draupadi is brought there, she actually begged to Dhritarashtra first, before she begged to Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya, and even Vidura was there. Even the Pandavas, none of the Pandavas were bound by their words. They could not help her. And Bhima got ready to stand and help her. But Yudhishthira said, because he's a very truthful person, Yudhishthira is the son of Dharmaraj. In other words, he's as good as Dharmaraj himself. He said, no, we have lost the bet. She's not ours anymore. And in this way, it's a very sad scene what happened. And this is what instigated the war of Mahabharata. Because later on, Sri Prabhupada also says that all those who did not help Draupadi had to die and will die. It was very clear. So you find at the end of the war, nobody survives the war except Vidura. Because Vidura, on the next day, he just left the palace and went away. Because he knew that what had happened is wrong. And the outcome or the result of the Draupadi's insulting is going to finish all the Kauravas. And it happened like that. In the text 8, Yudhishthira was born without any enemy, was unfairly defeated in gambling. Unfairly means, though Duryodhana was playing, but the dice was thrown by Shakuni. And he knew the mantras. He can, whatever he desired, it would come. In this way, he was defeated. And because he got defeated, he went to the forest. He could have refused to go to forest, but he was so truthful that yes, because after the gambling match, the second gambling match took place, and he was asked that if you lose this time, you'll have to go to forest for 13 years, 12 years and 1 year in incognito. And Yudhishthira at once left for the kingdom. Yudhishthira's actions are very much precisely truthful. And just like Lord Ramachandra, when his father said you have to go to the forest, he at once left. He did not wait. So these are the great souls who never gave up, truthful. And if you see the last word in the Sanskrit, it says, Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatru means he had no enemies actually. Yudhishthira had no enemies. He didn't even have enmity, even with Duryodhana. Because he used to call Duryodhana Suyodhana, means in a very friendly way, with a lot of respect. He had no enemies, yet his wife was insulted. And really speaking, whose kingdom was it before Dhritarashtra took over was Pandu's kingdom. The whole kingdom, and along with practically the whole world, was ruled by King Pandu. So actually the kingdom would have gone to the Pandavas. But Dhritarashtra had that dream and an ambition that I could not become the king because of he was blind. But my son is not blind, so he should become the king. So he fought for that ambition and worked for that ambition so hard, making so many cruel plans. We know that so many evil things he did. He was not party to Duryodhana. He knew everything. For example, the very first incident, at that time Bhima was very young. They invited him in a palace which was near river Yamuna. Then he was fed with sweets, which was full of poison, and Bhima ate it. And when he became unconscious, they threw him down in the Yamuna. So that was the first incident. Dhritarashtra knew it. The second one was the Pandavas were put into the palace of Shalak, put to fire. And by Krishna's mercy and Vidura's mercy, they escaped through the tunnel. So that was the second one. The third one was, which we already heard about Draupadi, how she was insulted. And even when they went to the forest, Duryodhana's brother-in-law, Jayadratha, he kidnapped Draupadi. He had already kidnapped her. And had Bhima and Arjun not been around, he would have taken her. But Bhima and Arjun intervened later on and rescued Draupadi. Then another incident is how they were kicked out of the kingdom. Their property was looted. And they were attacked without any weapons. Because when they went to forest, there was a forest where there were cannibals. And these cannibals were, all the cannibals were cannibals, we know they are meat eaters. Hidamba and Hidimba. And later on, of course, Hidimba got attracted to Bhima and they married. And Bhima had to kill Hidimba because he was not favorable at all. So all the 6 aggressors, if you read in the Bhagavad Gita in the first chapter, these 6 aggressors should have been killed. And actually the Pandavas did not want war. When they returned from the kingdom, they just asked for their share back. After all, who built Indraprastha is the Pandavas, not the Kauravas. Kauravas already had their palace at the Hastinapur. They built their new palaces and kingdom, which was called Indraprastha. And with the help of Maya Danav, it was a very, very wonderful palace that everybody got attracted. Even Duryodhana got attracted because out of jealousy, there was envy burning in his mind. How come these people build this thing from a scratch? Because actually, Khanda Prashta, the area that was given to the Pandavas, was chosen by Duryodhana. And it hardly had any trees, it was all dry. Had Krishna and Balram not come in between, they would have never set a kingdom. And in fact, when Yudhishthira Maharaj saw the land, the barren land, he said, what do we do here? We can't even till the land, it's all dry. So Krishna's the words were very fantastic. Krishna says, whatever comes, take it as your karma and work for your karma. In this way, by the help of Balram, when Balram put his hoe in the ground, the moment it touched, it became green. There were water reservoirs there. Balram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no ordinary person. So with the help of Krishna and Balram, the Indraprashta was developed to an extent that people came from far, far away to see this special kingdom. But this was also again taken away by Duryodhana, by force. And he did not want to return. And we all know, this will be discussed in the next verse, that when Krishna came as a messenger and asked for their kingdom, he refused. He completely refused. Krishna said, if you can't give the whole kingdom, I mean half of their kingdom, you give 5 villages, because the dharma or the occupational duty of the Pandavas is Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas are meant to rule. They protect the citizens and they take some tax, and this is how they survive. So if you see the second paragraph, Prabhupada says, as Kshatriyas, the proper livelihood of the Pandavas was only to rule and not to accept any other occupation. A Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya will not accept employment for his livelihood under any circumstances. So all 3, Pandavas, Brahmanas, they'll not take any employment. They are self-dependent. So are the Kshatriyas and so are the Vaishyas. The Brahmanas will do some worship here and there and get some donation. In this way, they survive. And Brahmanas generally are very simple people. Those who are accustomed to hear Srila Prabhupada, this is even a few hundred years ago in Bengal, there was a king of Krishnanagar. And once he was passing by the town, he noticed one Brahmin, he was teaching children Vedic scriptures. And he was very poor, and he had a very small house. So the king said that, oh Brahmin, can I get you something? Can I give you some contribution so you can make your house bigger? Can I send you some grains, some property, some cows? He says, no, I'm very happy. He says, but how do you survive? He said, you see these nice boys and girls, they every other day or after every few days, they bring some rice. I cook rice. And in my compound, there's a tamarind tree. I take some leaves of the tamarind and I cook my rice in it. And I eat rice and I'm happy. So Prabhupada said, this is a typical Brahmin. He likes to live a very, very simple life. Because it's only when you live a very simple life, you can actually remain Krishna conscious. Otherwise, it's difficult. When you make your life very complicated, too much luxury, too much traveling, then the taste in Krishna consciousness will become lesser and lesser and lesser. Even if your faith is strong, the faith can't remain strong unless you do certain things daily. One is hearing about Krishna, number 1. Number 2, your regular chanting. Don't miss your chanting. And then remembrance of Krishna. I was just reading Bhagavatam first canto, the beautiful prayer of Mother Kunti, that she's praying to Krishna, that let those calamities come again and again, so that we see you again and again. And each time we see you, we'll be freed from the cycle of birth and death. Very famous prayer of Kunti. Nobody would ask what Kunti is asking. Nobody. Everybody wants comfort, happiness, at least no calamities. And we just heard the calamities with which they meant to. And she's praying to Krishna, let them happen again. All the 6 huge calamities. So that is Mother Kunti, a pure devotee. No wonder she has glorious sons, the Pandavas, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, Sadhava, and later on also Karna. Also Karna was a great person. So anyway, a Brahmin means a very simple life. And a Brahmin, Prabhupada said, a Brahmin, Kshatriya or a Vaishya will never take any occupation. So in the case of the Pandavas, they are Kshatriyas. They would not take any occupation. They were happy the way they were. And they did not want to do anything but just get a small villages and rule from there. So if the citizens are protected, they'll pay some tax to the Kshatriyas, and this is how they will earn their livelihood. And as far as Vaishyas are concerned, they are gifted with the wit to do business. We find that even in Kenya or even in East Africa, most people who came were Vaishyas, and many were Sudras. But how the Vaishyas developed the country so well. In fact, the whole economy was controlled, at least quite recently. Still, economy is very much supported by the Vaishya community or the Indian community who pay taxes, run industries here in Kenya. So that is a Vaishya. He doesn't go and beg. He'll rather buy some goods and sell them. He'll buy some grains and sell the grains. Or he'll buy some grains, clean them up, and then sell them. This is the duty of a Vaishya. So the Varnashram system is a very organized way of life. And everyone is happy in the Varnashram system because nobody goes unemployed. And nobody has to beg. It's a respectable society. I think I had earlier told you that in 1895, I have the letter here in my file, where a British parliament, is called Macaulay. He wrote a report to Queen Victoria, who was the mother of Queen Elizabeth, that there's no way you can rule Indian community. They are so well organized, and there's no beggar in India. Imagine India is billions of people, not a single beggar, and no one unemployed. Everyone is doing their duty. The social structure is so dynamic that I simply fail. So this issue was discussed in the British Parliament in the 1890 something. And then they made a plans how to rule India. And the first thing they attacked was the education system, number one. Number two, break the culture. Because they were told that if you don't wear shirts and pants, you can't come to work. So they had no option but to wear them. Yet the ladies did not agree. The ladies kept on wearing saris because ladies wouldn't work in those days. They'll only do housework. In this way, the British are responsible for bringing our culture down to the present culture, which is more or less than a Sudra culture, very low culture in India. Today is very, very shocking that most people, especially the people of the cities, they don't care for Vedic principles. Though there is culture, but very few percent. The original culture is gone. And the worst was made by the entertainment industry People think whatever they're watching in movies is true. Because what you see daily and what you hear daily, you accept it. So if you take Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness, principle is the same. Why do we see Krishna daily? Why do we hear about Krishna daily? And why do we eat only Krishna Prasadam? Because these are the things which nurtures our senses. And once our senses become purified, we can engage in Krishna consciousness. Because time to time, in fact, daily, our senses become polluted. So Bhakti Yoga means using our senses in the service of Krishna. Purified senses in the service of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada comments in the Bhagavatam that our senses, the present senses which we have, are temporary. Asad Indriya Tarsanat, which means temporary senses. Tarsanat means agitating. They always agitate us. I want to see this, I want to hear this, I want to smell this, I want to eat this. That's why they're called agitating senses. But by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, these senses become purified. And as they become purified, then what happens? The result is the senses, the original senses come displayed. They come out. And the original senses are pure senses. When the senses engage in the service of Krishna, become purified. That's why regular hearing, regular chanting, regular remembering brings us closer to Krishna, and we become more and more purified. After all, Bhakti Yoga means applying our purified senses to serve Krishna. There's no bigger meaning than that. So Bhakti Yoga is practiced with purified senses. And the senses become controlled when engaged in the service of Krishna. No other way. If you try any other way to purify your senses, to control your senses, it is simply not possible. It will turn out to be a farce. You will not purify your senses. The easy way to purify senses, first thing, if you can actually do, is to remember Krishna. That's it. Just remember Krishna throughout the day, throughout the night. In this way, become purified. Recently, we have a Maharaj, visiting Maharaj here in Nairobi. Today, they're flown to Kisumu, Mombasa. And he was saying that Prabhupada has made Krishna consciousness so simple that what we are practicing can purify us quickly. And Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do three things: to chant Hare Krishna, to dance, and to eat Krishna Prasadam. Nacho Gao, and cow means eat Krishna Prasadam. And he says, if you go to any other institution, there's a lot of tapasya. In our ISKCON, the tapasya is not so much. The only tapasya we are doing in ISKCON is waking up early. Waking up for Mangalarti, very important. Whether you're in the temple or you're at home. If you make a habit of waking up early, then the taste for Krishna's name will come. Otherwise, it won't come. If you want to live like ordinary people, then it is as good as impossible. If you have a habit of waking up early in the morning, Pratakal. Pratakal means around 4 in the morning. Take a bath, put on your clothes, your tilak, open the altar and offer Mangalarti, and then sit down there and chant Hare Krishna. Anyone who have a habit of doing that will never go wrong in his life. Never. Not possible. Because his sadhana will protect him. His bhajan and his sadhana. If you see, even in our society or in ISKCON, those devotees who attend many morning programs, they never go wrong. They're here for years and years and years. They started when they were very young, and now they are old, but still following the same timetable. The same system, unchanging. So Maharaj emphasized that if you do this, then you get a taste of the holy name, not otherwise. Without tapa, you can't get the taste of the holy name. Of course, in a joking way, he said, we have a taste for eating pizzas, we have a taste for eating gulab jamun, rasgullas. But when will we get the taste of hearing Krishna's name? Is only by following the stricture given by Srila Prabhupada. That's why waking up early morning is the tapa for Kali Yuga. Wake up. Before the sun rises, you should rise. Sun rises around 6:30. I don't know about Eldoret. Here it is rising. I think it's the same time. But before that, most devotees are up 2:30, 3:30. The others who start chanting even before Mangalarti. They're already in the temple room, I have noticed. And we have some very young boys. They're following a very good training. Even they come very early and start chanting Hare Krishna. So when you see others chanting, it will enhance your chanting also. Even you feel like chanting. And then after Mangalarti, Tulsi Puja, everyone sits down together to chant Hare Krishna. It's like a circle. And people sit to chant Hare Krishna. So nice that the temple is like Vaikuntha in the morning. That's why the morning program has a lot of potential. That is what Maharaj explained. That don't miss your morning program, chant your Rams, and then pray to Krishna. Don't forget that. Many of us, after many years, we think, we take it for granted that we don't need to pray. No, we need to pray. When we pray to Krishna regularly, then the result is Krishna will take care of us. And he specifically mentioned Radharani, that it's by her mercy that we are able to do a little engagement in the service of Krishna. So you have to pray to both Radha and Krishna to be always be engaged in their service. When they see us happily doing service, they are very happy. And in this way, we remain strong in our Krishna consciousness. And also, one more thing he mentioned is, do not listen to your mind. If you listen to your mind, it will take you far away from Krishna. So those who are weak-minded, or in other words, those who listen to their mind, their seva or their services, their devotion is always jumping. Sometimes too high, sometimes too low. No, we should not do like that. Do not become a slave of your mind. Become a master of your mind. And how to become a master of the mind is give all our senses in the service of Krishna. Don't misuse our senses in any way. Don't see things which will not help you in Krishna consciousness. Don't hear things which will not help you in Krishna consciousness. And why worry, he said. There are people who worry too much. What will happen? If something goes wrong, they worry so much. That's not going. Worrying is not going to help you anyway. So remain Krishna conscious with a happy heart. And if you remain surrendered and humble, Shridadapi Sudiche Natarareva Saisana Manina Manadeva Tritriya Sadhavi. Even while Krishna is teaching knowledge to Arjuna, in the 13th chapter, the very first word of the 19 elements is Amanitvam. Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa. Amanitvam means be ready to respect others. Don't demand respect for others. There are people who ask a lot of respect. And it's there also amongst our devotees. It's not a good habit. Because people will be scared of you. But if you are humble, people will approach you. People will be ready to open their heart to you. For example, let's say if I come to Eldoret and I come in a very angry mood, who will come to me? Nobody. They say, oh, he's not in a good mood. We can't approach you. But if you are friendly, if you are humble, down to the ground, then you can give association to others. So we can learn a lot from Maharaj Yudhishthira. Maharaj Yudhishthira had no enemies. Ajata Shatru means no enemy was born for Maharaj Yudhishthira. Literally means that nobody hated him. Everybody loved Yudhishthira. Because he is not only Dharma personified, but a pure devotee of Krishna. And very, very respectable. That even the demigods respected him. I don't know if you know this secret. When you ride his chariot, the wheels will not touch the ground. They'll float. And people who saw it, they say, wow, shocking. Like you drive your car. Will your car even drive without the wheels touching on the ground? They have to touch the ground. Yudhishthira Maharaj's chariot would literally float on the ground because Mother Bhumi was too shy to accept the chariot of Yudhishthira on the ground. So there was no gravity on that chariot. It would simply float. So this is one of the features of Maharaj Yudhishthira, no ordinary person. And as we read further, in fact, we already covered that Maharaj Yudhishthira was such a king that everyone was happy, just like Lord Ramachandra. His kingdom was as good as that of Lord Ramachandra. Everybody lived long, everybody was happy. No women became widows, so much grain, so much fruit, so much water, so many abundance of trees and milk that there was no shortage of anything. So Sri Prabhupada says, if everyone gets good meals daily, you don't expect any crime to take place. Not possible. When you are getting good food daily. And everybody respected Maharaj Yudhishthira. That's why in this verse, the Sanskrit says, text, Tamo Jushano Yad Ajata Shatru. Tamo Jushana. That only people who are in illusion, the Drashta was an illusion, that he created these heinous crimes against Pandavas, especially towards Maharaj Yudhishthira, which is wrong. If someone is a pure devotee, and if you harm him, then don't expect to get any mercy of Krishna, not possible. You have to be very fair, very, very fair with the devotees, not only fair, we have to take shelter of the devotees. After all, how do we get devotional service? Is by taking good shelter of pure devotees of Krishna. Without their shelter, without their association, not possible. Just by holding your hand and saying, Dandvat Prabhu. Well, externally it may be very good, but that Dandvat has to come from inside your heart. That you should feel that I am very low, insignificant in front of this pure devotee. Then you can get the mercy, then you expect the mercy flow into you, not otherwise. So I'll end up the class here. Hare Krishna. Most of these facts, you know them. It's more or less a repetition. In case you have any questions, you can ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for an excellent class as always. Prabhuji, I have two questions. One is when you said pray, you should always pray. And
What?
You should always pray.
Yes,
pray.
yes.
So, so when we say pray, we are asking for the material things that are not going on right with us. And even in the Gita, it said that if you need any material thing, you pray to Lord Krishna. We are not elevated like Kunti Maharani or Bhishma Pitama or Gajendra and Prahlad and Dhruv, that we can't pray like they have done. So, Prabhuji, to start, us people who are starting, what do we pray and how do we pray?
Well, that prayer is already explained in Sikshastangam. Mama Janmani Janmani Shware Bhavta Bhakti Ahituki. Please engage me in your service. That is the only thing we should ask for. Never ask for material things. In Bhagavad Gita, it's not written that we should go to Krishna to ask for material things. That's also foolishness. Material things, most people are materialists, they'll also worship. They'll only worship demigods. They won't come to Krishna. But even if a devotee, in case he is in a dire need of something, he will pray to Krishna, not to demigods. And Krishna will fulfill it. So first of all, we should pray for devotional service life after life, which indirectly means we should not ask for moksha. We should only keep praying that we engage in the devotional service of Krishna, life after life. And when you say life after life, it means day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute. Don't sit idle. There are 9 types of devotional service. If you become tired of reading, start chanting. If you're tired of chanting, start remembering. If you are tired of that, do some cooking. Make garlands, clean your altar, clean your house where Krishna is there. More clean, more your heart will become clean. So that is your first question. What is your second question?
Prabhuji, Yudhishthir Maharaj knew that gambling is bad. I mean, he was Dharmaraja. So was it Krishna's Leela that he kept on playing and then losing, or was it that he had the lust for the game?
No, he had no lust for the game. In fact, he was not even interested in it. So, but out of a Kshatriya duty, Kshatriya cannot refuse 3 things: a combat, gambling, and if a woman is there helpless, she says, I need shelter, he has to give. So one of the rule of a Kshatriya is to refuse gambling. And because he was openly cheated, it was not Duryodhana playing with him. It was this one, Shakuni. And of course, cause of all causes is Krishna. It had to happen because Krishna wanted it like that. Otherwise, the war of Mahabharata would have never taken place. Just like in Ramayana, Shatrughan wanted to kill Mantra when he learned that it is due to Mantra, Kaikeyi's mentality was spoiled. But then he let go. Because Lord Ramachandra said, later on told him that it was an arrangement of the demigods. The demigods arranged that Ramchandra should go to forest. And in the forest he should go through all this so that Ravan can be killed. Otherwise he could not be killed. And the burden of the earth remained heavy. It's okay.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
In fact,
Are there any?
Prabhuji, I didn't understand what
fact,
you explained to Kirtika Mataji.
Which question?
The
Mataji, which
second question about
regarding
Yudhishthir, the 3 qualities, something Prabhuji
yeah,
said, I couldn't understand.
three things a Kshatriya cannot refuse. If a Kshatriya is challenged for fight, he cannot refuse, number 1. Number 2, if he is told to gamble, he has to gamble. And number 3, is there if any woman, especially women or even children, who have no shelter, a Kshatriya has to give them shelter. Is that okay?
Yeah, fine.
So that is why Yudhishthira Maharaj could not refuse to take part in the gambling. Though in the Mahabharata it says that he did not like gambling. He was not a person who liked gambling. It's okay?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for that clarification. Are there any other questions or comments? If there are no questions or comments, can I request Priya Govind Prabhu, are you able to
Hare
end the
Krishna.
session? Yes,
Hare
yes.
Krishna,
Indulekha
everyone.
Mataji.
Please
Hare
can accept
Krishna.
my humble obeisance as a good Shri Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for an explanation. It's nice to go back to Mahabharata and know what has happened and how we should conduct ourselves. So you were talking about the dice, the cheating game. Actually, Shakuni, he came from Gandhar. which is
Yeah.
present-day Afghanistan, right?
Yeah.
So his ancestors, the ancestors of the Kauravas, they had imprisoned the ancestors of Shakuni because they won the battle, and then all the kings from Gandhar, they were imprisoned and starved to death. And then Shakuni, he had dreams that his ancestors were calling him. So he got their bones and he put their bones in the water. And then those bones spoke to him. They said, "You have saved us. Now you take the bone from our knee and you make dice. And whatever you tell us, we will be your servant. We will do." That's how, whenever he will throw the dice and he will say the number, it will come. And he was praying to the dice as well. That's how he could win the game. That was literally cheating. Everybody could see he was cheating, but every time he was the one who would throw the dice. Duryodhan had to throw the dice, or his brothers, but not Shakuni. But Shakuni said he was going to throw. That's how he knew he was going to win that game. So that is a trick of Shakuni. And Shakuni, why did he do that? He from the beginning he spoiled Duryodhan badly, because he had to take that revenge on the Kauravas. Everybody thought that he loved Duryodhan, but in reality he was there just to finish that dynasty of the Kauravas. He didn't come there. He didn't go there to help Gandhari or to save his children or whoever. No, he went there to destroy them entirely, which happened eventually. Yeah. And thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji, for asking the question about the prayers. What should we pray? And also we should pray to Radharani. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Are there any other comments, or we can close today's session? Fantastic session. I'm requesting Priya Govind Prabhu, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, kindly end the session for today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna, Priya Govind,
Rukma
happy.
Prabhuji. Long time I have not taken your darshan, Prabhuji.
Well, Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year. Thank you for your wonderful association. We are so grateful to have you here in Eldoret. Though physically you have not been here, but we are feeling that spiritual association. And although I joined late because I had also another class here, so I'm sorry about that. But there's some few things I picked up, although they have been summarized by other devotees, that we have to be very strict on our sadhana. Prabhuji spoke about Maharaj, who is visiting currently in different yatras here in the country. He spoke about how we should rise up very early during Brahma Muhurta, and we have to chant and also pray. That prayer is very important, as Prabhuji was saying, because when we pray, what are we praying? We are praying actually to Lord Krishna to help us at least knowledge our devotion. Oh Lord Krishna, please help me and remove all obstacles on the path of devotion. It is very, very important that we should pray. And our movement is based on chanting, dancing, and eating prasadam. Prabhuji stressed on that. And that actually is our philosophy. That's why everywhere we go, we preach the same gospel. So thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class, and we're so grateful to have your association. And if so, we are begging at least for your mercy, at least regularly you should come, not only once in a while. Please, if at least you can appear at least once or at least twice a week, we can be more grateful, more happy, Prabhuji. Please. Okay, though we know your commitments are many also in the temple, so kindly let us unmute ourselves and at least we put our videos on so that at least Prabhuji can be able to see us And we unmute ourselves and at least we chant loudly one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for the glorification of our dear most Prabhuji. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Panchakarubhyascha
Hare
Kripasinधुभ्यैव
Vaja Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, jai, jai.
Grace
Rukma Prabhuji
Prabhuji
jai,
ki
jai.
jai.
Yay. Thank you,
Gaur
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
thank
Krishna.
you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everybody for joining in. Thank you, Priya Govind Prabhu, for ending the session. Hare Krishna.